cut. Hello, it's June 2022, and I just want to. And before I get into this video, I really want to. I don't even know what. Wow, that was kind of. Anyway. Hello, it's June 2022, and this video is inspired by an event from yesterday, which went into the evening, which went into part of last night. And I went into the hospital last night for something unrelated to what I was in the hospital for last time. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, everyone. Again, awesome job, and thank you for the respect of my not, for example, having the needle or being swabbed. And it was a good experience. And I'm just going to segue now into my contrasting my experiences in Ontario with the experiences that I had over the many years in Alberta. And that's a whole different topic which I've talked about, but I can only say that my experience so far here has been exceptional, and I just want to thank everyone for doing a great job, very professional, and yeah, I can't be more happy. Now I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but I want to expand on this, take this opportunity to expand on a conversation that I had with a friend earlier this morning. And I think it'd be kind of interesting for everyone to kind of even just contemplate. And it does tie into the bigger picture. Ooh. So some of the test results, they did test, for example, my liver and other organs and stuff, and they said everything was fine, which is good news, great news. I went in yesterday for heart and lung issues, and so far nothing has really come up, but I'm going to be getting that looked into. So the one doctor, cool guy, said, "You want to go on?" And I said, "Yes, let's get everything looked into now that I'm back in my province." And I will say I do miss Alberta, a lot of great people there. I do miss the mountains, but Ontario has always been my home, and I've waited many years to come back. I would have liked to have come back in a better situation to move forward with my life, but you work with what you got. So I'm going to be looking after these other health issues hopefully soon. I still have to talk to the surgeon who did the operation a few weeks ago and get any input there, with a few other possible concerns now. So anyway, I just thought I'd touch up on that, but here's where this video should become interesting. It's just my observation. So I'm laying on this hospital bed in a hallway for a long time, and I'm just observing. Now, this is not the first time that I've done this, and what I'm about to talk about came to these conclusions. And I've done this in other environments, even just sitting like I am now in a parking lot watching people. So this is something that you can do yourself. And as I'm watching everyone going around like busy bees, doing their thing, and everyone has their own, it appears that they have their own color code uniform type of thing, so I guess they can distinguish who's who type of whatever. Everyone's doing their thing, doctors, the nurses, the people who clean. And I remember the last time I was in the hospital talking to one of these cleaners, they said, I asked them a question, they said, oh, I'm just a cleaner. Well, you know something? There's no just being a cleaner. I don't know what the official title is, but that's my descriptive. Because these people who are cleaning constantly, you just see them bouncing around, say cleaning the bathroom like 3-4 times and cleaning everything, you know, mopping up, changing sheets, all this other stuff. That's an important role. Because without that, I mean, the place would be a mess, right? But I'm watching everyone doing their thing. And where I was, there were, I think, about 4 police officers. And I guess they were there bringing in people they arrested or whatever, accidents. And they're just, you know, everyone's doing their role. Keyword, their role. So I remember thinking to myself, these are just people. These people, everyone doing their jobs, whatever it is, they are that very person they were as a child. Just taller, bigger, knowing more than as a child. And if you strip away their, I'm going to use the descriptive costumes, also uniforms, whatever you want to call them. I'm using the word costumes not as something negative. It's going to make sense in a moment. You strip all that away. They're just people. Everyone's just people doing their role. And in this case, the role that they've chosen to do. Doing the best that they can. Some people are smarter than others. Some people are better at what they do than others. But everyone's trying. Just trying to get through their day. And for example, in a hospital setting, to help people. And when you look at, for example, the police that were there, they're just trying to make sure that, you know, everyone's safe, and whoever they brought in, you know, not doing anything stupid, but just people playing a role in the theater of life. I've mentioned in videos not too long ago, you have the theater of war. You have an operation room is considered a theater. A courtroom, a theater. Little theaters. And then you have the theater of life. And all these people, for example, at the hospital, as I'm just watching, observing, they're there. But then they go home. They have a home. They have a life outside of that. They have friends, family. You know, after work, maybe they have plans to do something exciting, or maybe something boring. Who knows? But everyone has a life, and everyone has their own problems and their own whatever. It's just interesting just to take yourself out of the theater of life and look, and then you see, it puts everything in perspective. I remember I was in my early 20s once. We were in a movie theater watching a movie, and there was a bunch of us that we went as a group, and we had the whole back section. And at one point, it's almost like I snapped out of, as a descriptive, a trance. and the screen was in front of me, and I started looking around, just looking around at people, how everyone, as a descriptor, was mesmerized by whatever was going on the screen. And I'm looking at my girlfriend at the time, everyone. I was looking around at everyone, and it was kind of weird feeling. This would have been in the early 90s. So even at that level, observing, taking yourself out of the theater and observing the theater from a third person perspective as a descriptive, really put things into context. Now, that experience at the movie theater as a descriptive opened my eyes to how movies, for example, put people in a trance and etc. But that's a different tangent. But you can do that with life overall. You can do that at your work, whether it be in an office or a factory. Everyone is playing a role. A lot of times people choose a role. However, there are times where that role is imposed. Take, for example, what was imposed on me in Calgary, Alberta. I didn't ask for the role. I tried to avoid the role, and and here I am today type of thing, right? Living in the aftermath. And that ties into a comment that the fourth lawyer had made to me when he said, we have to take you off the conveyor belt of conviction. How many people just end up on that conveyor belt, guilty or innocent, to conviction? And that's other people imposing what they want your role to be. Now you can translate that into your personal life. For example, call gaslighting. Someone's gaslighting someone else. Maybe it's a family member, relationship, whatever. So somebody wants you to be in a specific role. Now, as I was in the hospital watching all these people doing their jobs, and they were doing a great job, I also started looking at the other patients that were in the hall and seeing other people coming and going and getting wheeled around on these gurneys and stuff. And there are some people there that are, as my descriptive, chronic visitors of hospitals for whatever reason. Maybe they like the attention, maybe they're just hypochondriacs, who knows, it doesn't matter. But that's their role. And I'm laying back, looking around at everyone's role. And those people, those patients, have a life outside of that. And it's interesting if you think about it. For example, the nurses that are doing their work only know that patient as a patient. And that patient only knows that person as a nurse. There's a bit of a disconnect because they don't, although you realize that they're a human being, both on both sides, there's a disconnect because they don't really know each other outside of that moment being there. And we see this with all sorts of different professions. I'm sharing this because it's the most recent time that I just kind of stepped out of the theater and looked around, watching everyone. It was very interesting. And I guess there was something a little bit more personal for me, realizing, I'm getting older and watching all these younger people, say for example nurses and stuff, doing their work, and they have their whole life ahead of them, helping, for example, people or whatever it is that they were doing there. Even the doctors seem younger than I am, but I don't know. I'm not a very good judge at ages, but I realized my younger years are long gone. Getting older. We all get older. That's life, right? Yeah, I started to reflect about myself and my life. Anyway, I talked about this type of thing in videos, I think about 3 years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't know. So I'm not gonna get into that now. Maybe it'll be a video that I'll revisit, but I really just wanted to just give a shout out to the hospital and the staff. It's such a good experience being treated with respect, and I guess a part of like, I'm not one to go to the hospitals willy-nilly. You know, spend 2 years before getting a needed surgery. And I think part of it is the feeling of, as a loose descriptive, helplessness. And being in an environment that is beyond my pay grade, because these people went to school and have experience with what they're doing. And hospitals are not very happy places, because, you know, you don't tend to go to the hospital when you're well. So there's a lot of things going on, people sick or whatever. But it's really nice to go to a hospital and be treated with respect. Again, contrasting that with my experiences in Alberta. Anyway, hopefully this kind of gives you something to think about with regards to the theater, and observing really puts life in perspective and brings back humanity to life, to our world, to our civilization. Because at the end of the day, every single one of us, doesn't matter what profession you're in or what role you're playing, we are all that little child we once were. Something to think about. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people say, you know, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.